True family. I hope you guys are having a blessed day. I got an interesting video for you guys. God bless.
Please help me share this to the world, so we as Christians can pray over it. I guess I am too young to have received such a revelation. I am just 24 years old, still in the nursing school. I have so many things on my mind that I am still trying to find a meaning to. I must confess that the AntiChrist and the end time are not really part of my plans, because I had always prayed to God to extend these events, so that there would be more time for me to complete my school, find a good job, and make a family. I can say, these are the silly things I have always thought about. But what I saw in my dream tells me a complete different thing from my silly thoughts. This was way more than a dream, but more of an insight into things that had happened, and things that were most likely going to occur in the near future. Things that the entire human race should fear and be prepared for. Else things could go really bad. I am saying this not to scare anyone. I am only saying this based on my own understanding. Let no one rebuke me on this. I might be correct or wrong. But I pray that any of your viewers or anyone else who has the spirit of discernment from God will listen to this message and give a proper interpretation of it. I have also prayed to the Lord to give me answers to certain questions bothering me on this. In the dream, I found myself in an unending darkness. A very thick darkness. It was so quiet that I could hear the thumping of my heart. Then quickly, the darkness began to fade as a small creature of light that looked like a bird appeared from a far distance. Things got brighter as the creature of light approached where I stood. It came very close till I was face to face with the blinding energy. I had to shield my eyes till they got accustomed to the light, and even then, it was still blinding. A voice that spoke like a man boomed from the light. The voice was very deep, but calming, thunderous, and yet gentle. It came from the creature of light, but at the same time, I could hear the voice coming out of me, from my body, and all around me. It was like it spoke, both from within and outside my body. The voice was speaking to me. He said, "The end of days have come." The voice kept saying this several times in the dream, and it echoed in my ear. Then the voice spoke to me about the false prophets and the AntiChrist that were to arise in the end time. He warned me and said the world in general needed to be cautious because the AntiChrist was already among us. I became frightened because I always thought we were still centuries away from the days of rapture and the emergence of the AntiChrist. Then in the dream, I was taken to a big church, and I saw so many people gathered there. There were over thousands of people seated in the congregation. And I also saw so many men who stood on the pulpit, claiming to be men of God. The voice came to where I stood again and said, "These men you see there are wolves in sheep's clothing. Be careful." That's what I heard the voice saying. The congregation, including any other person in the church, was happy listening to these men, and the men kept deceiving them with lies and false doctrines. These men looked rich and wealthy. They looked like prosperity and wealth preachers who were filled with deceit. Then I was taken to a different place. It looked like an ancient hamlet with so many human settlement. I saw many people filled up in the town. They looked filthy, and I saw most of them involved in amorous sex. Almost everyone in the town was engaged in devilish things, like homosexuality, prostitution, gang raping, killings, and more. The town looked like Sodom and Gomorrah. Then I saw a strange man, who was seated on a very big throne, which was placed at the center of the town. His head was covered with a veil. He looked like the king of the town. Then the voice came again and asked me to look at the man. But I couldn't see his face because of the veil. Then suddenly, a strong wind blew off the veil. Then I saw the face of Barack Obama. He looked clean and nice, like in reality. He had a smile all on his face. And he was totally different from the people in the town. The people in the town, like I said, were filthy and dirty. He looked innocent. And I said, "This man must not be here. I know him." I kept struggling, like I wanted to defend him. Then I heard the voice shouting at me, saying, "Beware of the beast, beware of the beast." The voice kept saying this. I got confused at this point, who the beast was. Then I went to stand at the back of the man, who looked like Obama. Surprisingly, he had two faces. My heart nearly jumped out when I saw another face at the back of his head. The face at the back looked evil. It had no smile. The eyes were pure red. And the skin on the face was black. I didn't understand why Obama would be seated in the midst of evil people and also appear to be evil himself. He had always seemed like a good guy to me. The voice warned me by telling me not to be deceived. The book of Revelations had been prepared to warn us about what was to come. The voice spoke to me about how Obama had won the hearts of many and deceived people into thinking he was Christ-like, and how he had promised to bring peace and set the world right when he entered power, but had only done otherwise. The voice told me about how Obama had influenced the world by manipulating the people of America. The voice spoke about how Obama had created policies and allowed a few laws to be put in place, which secretly undermined the Christian faith and led people away from the light of salvation. At that instance, my attention was drawn to the legalization of same-sex marriage and homosexual activities. The voice spoke about the increase in substance abuse after Obama gained power. Marijuana was legalized for recreational purposes in several states, and ever since then, more and more states and nations have been clamoring for the legalization of the drug and others. I became aware of his dislike and hatred for Christianity. Though he pretends to be a Christian, he secretly opposes the Christian principles and works against them. During his term of office, there was a steady decline in the number of Christians in the U.S. Thus, the rise in the number of atheists. The U.S. had withdrawn from the wars they were in, but Obama's actions had caused more tension and created many conflicts all over the world with no end in sight, further destabilizing the world as a whole. The voice warned me that there were more to come of him. The world had only witnessed the beginning. Even though Obama was no longer in power, he still manipulates the system. And the outcome of such manipulations was none other than a civil war that would drag on and lead to a global situation. The voice told me he will rise back to power as a global ruler. When I woke up from the dream, I kept thinking if what I saw about Barack Obama was true. He was a good figure to me. I have kept wondering if he is really the Antichrist. People do not believe me when I share this dream with them. I am really disturbed. Thank you for watching to the end.